Yay, and welcome to the Forsaken Podcast. In these unprecedented times, it takes all of us working together to come together as one in a Baron. I'd like to welcome two of our newest members of the podcast. Today joining us in the stead of Magic, we have the famous Zrothum Zathorum. Say hello.
Hello, hello.
And the infamous Gifnab. Also say hello.
Hi.
Now Zrothum.
Don't act so enthused to be here in the inaugural version 2.0 of the podcast.
Hi.
What's it like? And this question is directed at Zrothum. What's it like being one of FL's most notorious villains?
I take it on the chin. It's something I deserve for some antics that I may have pulled in my younger years. I think it's always an interesting thing to sit here and think about how long a lot of us have played this game. 20 years is a long time, not just in the span of time itself, but you think of your own personal growth in the last 20 years and how that can reflect on various things like FL.
What things could you have accomplished if you've done other things for as long as you've played FL?
I could have probably been smarter with my investments.
And you're referring to your recent bankrupting of you and your family with your purchase of Dogcoin and AMC?
It's Dogecoin for anyone who needs to be educated on the subject.
Okay.
But I don't want to make this about me.
Now, would you say that you're in the Doge house after having blown countless thousands of dollars on it?
I couldn't even afford a Doge house at this point.
Gotcha. Gifnab, do you care to comment?
No.
Okay. Moving on. Yes, we're missing Magic, so we will be without the snap calculations and precise numerics, geometry, trigonometry, calculus. Those things won't be a part of the show anymore. But what we do have is some insight on what may be to come with the Forsaken Lands.
Did you run out of forms of math that end in ometry?
Algebra.
Close.
Good effort.
Yeah.
I think what everybody really wants to know about is some of this new content that's coming out. What's going on? It looks like a lot of things are moving behind the scenes.
I think, that's going to be a great question for Gifnab over here as a driving force behind some of these new areas.
So wait a second. I have a question before we get this started. Is it Gifnab or Gifnab?
It is Gifnab, and anyone that pronounces the word GIF as GIF deserves a special spot in hell.
The creator of the GIF actually admitted himself that it's pronounced GIF. Now, did you
fuck that guy? Okay,
Yeah,
so I think it's GIF. I mean, you don't say
GIF.
GIF. You say gift.
He's right. And is that a name that you chose off of a long list of names where you were trying to choose the worst name? And do you feel that you are the worst named immortal presence that has ever been in the Forsaken Lands?
Oh, by far.
Okay. I agree.
Thank you.
So give us some insight on some of this new stuff that's coming up. Sounds pretty exciting.
Wow, we're really just gonna 180 there from Gifnab you suck to Gifnab give us the money.
You don't even get an introduction, if you noticed. We kind of cut that off too. So
yeah, that's fine. That's all cool.
No, I have some questions before we actually get started. How long have you played MUDs in general, Zrothum? Zrothum? How do you say your name? What should we call you, anyways?
His name's Zrothum Zathorum.
Grotum, I think, has been tossed around before.
We should call you Grotum?
You can call me whatever you want, sir.
Okay. So how long do you play MUDs in general and then FL?
So FL is actually the first and pretty much only MUD that I've ever played. I got turned on by a bunch of guys, and let me retract.
Oh wow!
Cut.
He's not cutting that.
So a bunch of buddies of mine played FL in high school and showed it to me. And so I was 16 when I first started playing. It was my first MUD. I've dabbled. Like I've spent a day like trying to play AR and carry on fields, and I've helped build and admin some other MUDs. But yeah, FL's been it, man, for 20 years, 19 and a half years, something like that.
Would you say you're probably maybe a couple most of your famous characters are your well-known characters, or
Yeah,
at
I mean,
least ones that maybe even that you're the most proud of?
yeah, I've got a wide range of infamous and famous characters. I think Darg obviously was the big thing I was known for back then. It was my best friend had an ogre warrior knight elder back when Syrant was still an immortal, and he kind of stopped playing and gave me the password. We were living together at the time, and so I started playing him and picked up leader, and then I gave that character to Chesta, who was playing Duravner at the time, a justice warrior. So Darg, Zrothum obviously was a big one around Romkey's time. Festorvian had a battle mage with me in Savant as well. I had a number of Cabal leaders though back in 2.0. If I had to say if I had to pick one as my favorite, it was probably Elviana. It was a Drow cleric Nexus leader around the time of Urpel. I think there's a log with Urpel, Shaw, and me on the forums, but that would probably be the one I'd pick.
What's your least favorite character?
Probably the undead battle mage that I had recently, only because Purolog was all around at the same time, and Hold Undead was not something that you want to have to deal with as an undead battle mage. Let's say that.
Yeah, sounds pretty terrible. If you could change one thing, good luck with your answer. If you could change one thing about FL, what would it be?
Um,
Remember,
how PC should I keep this? I think player rank Cabals is still probably on the top of my list.
Wait.
what
Aren't
do you mean
Cabals
by
already run by players?
wait? What do you mean by that specifically?
Specifically, I think that the way they were ran before, where you as a character could just apply as long as you met the criteria that was essentially outlined in the help file. You applied for entry, you applied for promotions, and then if the people in the cabal saw fit to vote for you, then that's what it was. But now I think in this age of gatekeeping, essentially, a lot of that's fall by the wayside. And I don't want to sit here and argue the merits of it for the next hour, but the reasons, in my opinion, that got taken away for a lot of the OOC abuse when you had rings of 8 or 9 people playing from the same city, a lot of those concerns I think have fallen by the wayside.
I'm not sure that I agree, and we could probably talk about this for a long time, simply because I think that the OOC rings haven't stopped. In fact, they're probably easier now than they were back then with the advent of Discord. And anyways, we see drama from it as it is. But yeah, so all right. What about you, Gifnab? How long have you played FL or Muds in general?
I mean, I've been around for about 7 months and have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of riding the gravy train at this point.
Are you telling us that you're a useless appendage?
Yeah, basically.
He's a gnome. They're fairly useless to begin with.
Are gnomes the next race to go extinct due to how useless they are and how unliked they are in general?
So hot take, gnome is actually the best race in the game at this point.
Can you explain why? Can you
Um,
elaborate?
Yeah, sure. So we got rid of the mental vuln, and now
Oh,
they're
really?
awesome.
I didn't know that. When the hell did that happen?
I don't know, sometime in the scant 7 months that I've been playing this game.
Yes, the mental vulnerability has been removed from gnomes. I think they only have charm vulnerability now. Is that correct?
Yeah, which
What
is
is
like 4.5 spells.
wait, so can this is my newbie-ness coming out. What exactly are the charm spells? What is that, like sleep?
It is sleep, and it is
Ecstasy.
hypnosis, and ecstasy, and silence, I think, and like 1 or 2 other things. Maze is a charm spell.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it's very few things.
So
What's
basically not a vulnerability at all, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
that? Sleep is a huge thing. That's a huge issue.
Eh.
I mean,
How many classes actually use sleep would hit
Two?
that bone?
2,
Yes, 2.
and that's a guaranteed loss.
It's a high probability. I would say that the class it's minimal the amount of classes who have it, but the classes that do can really ruin your day in a hurry.
But there are ways around that, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like what?
Poison, for one. Logging out, I guess, is number 2. Oh, we lost Gifnab. Oh, he's back. Gifnab's back. Okay.
Heyo. So, Gifnab, in your opinion, what's the best class for a gnome?
I would probably have to say Invoker, and the reason is that I would say Battle Mage, but neutral Battle Mages get kind of shafted on some equipment issues. So ultimately, I would say Invoker or Psionicist.
Could you imagine a gnome invoker with 1800 HP?
I can imagine it, yes. But I've only been around for a short time, and I'm kind of a noob. So, what do I know?
Well, apparently the inner workings of the game. I mean, the code is public.
If there was one thing that you could change today about FL, what would it be, Gifnab?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I'm an immortal. So I have carte blanche to change whatever I want, and everything I want to change has already been changed.
Really? That's what you're going with?
No.
That's an easy canned answer.
If I could change one thing, I think
Pass.
Is it that fairies would come back?
I want to circle back
Oh,
to
hard
the
pass.
new content creation and get his thoughts on that, because that's the type of stuff that I think as a longtime player and someone who's had issues maybe with committing to the game lately, that's the kind of stuff that draws me in. I think is going to keep drawing new players and returning players in.
Okay, so but I do have a question before we actually talk about that. Like, so Zrothum, what is the type of content that you personally look for as far as what does draw you in? I mean, is it areas? Is it new classes, new races, all of the above?
Is it Murder Santa?
It's Murder Santa was interesting for sure. I think it's a wide range of things, and I think it really comes down to just there's an opinion out there that FL had gotten a little stale, in the last few years, that there just wasn't much new. And I think people are thirsty for anything new, whether it's in-game dungeons, whether it's some sort of kind of solo content that can keep you busy at 50 without, hitting that burnout feel too much. I think for me personally, it's in-game content for sure. New classes are very exciting. But it's once you hit 50, it's that what do I do now feeling, and so anything that can kind of cover that goes a long way.
Okay. All right. So Gifnab, you want to give us some details about what's down the pipeline?
No.
Knowing that what you say will be heard.
I'm curious,
Forever.
even not so much about what's coming, which would be interesting to hear about, but I'm curious of like where Gifnab is drawing motivation, or not necessarily motivation, but inspiration for ideas in some of these areas. Like the toy factory is really cool. I have completed the new in-game dungeon. It was really well thought out, and it grabs you. It was good. It was immersive, as our peers say.
Yeah, and also, will you explain, kind of like, do a summary of what the hell's actually going on up until this point?
Going on, like, I mean, we're
It's all
doing
the stuff.
a podcast, man. That's what's
Man,
going
I
on.
mean, not like right here and now, bro. I
No.
mean, in game. You know what I'm saying?
Like the general, like the global RP.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Grip?
the global RP.
Boy, all right, this is like 17 questions all at once, so we'll see how
Wrap
I
them
do.
up.
All right, so let's dodge all of them and go back to talking about gnomes.
No.
Oh, okay. So I guess as far as the global RP is concerned, we back in October we released a first round of suffering on the world as we unleashed torments and wraiths along the Great Wall. They've been invading and killing things and occasionally killing people that they weren't supposed to kill, which is extra cool. Now, there are some hints in game, little bits and pieces and nuggets of wisdom that have been scattered throughout the game about what's coming next. And as Zoichan mentioned in his announcement last week, I believe, we have plans to release the second wave of that content by the end of this month. So,
Can you shed any light, kind of on a high level? Like, can we expect a new quest from that, or the I don't know how much detail I should really give away, but the reward you get at the end of their current quest will we be able to do something with that?
Yeah, give us a peek behind the scenes. Let's peel back the curtain.
all right.
Just don't peel it back too far.
All right.
Right.
So we're talking about a precision peel here.
High
Yeah,
level,
show us a
high
little.
level.
Show us a little leg. Show us a little leg. You know what I'm saying?
So I would say that I cannot make any promises that you'll be able to use the reward from the first quest by
Yet?
by the end of this month. But I can tell you that you will get more of that reward, and you will be able to use it eventually.
I can dig it.
As far as the things that you can kind of expect, there's basically 2 new areas, a fairly substantial line of quests.
Wait, what? Did you say 2 new areas?
I stutter.
So are these like
Damn.
full-fledged areas, or are they like little 4-room quirky things for flavor?
So I would say that it's one of each. Neither of them are
Okay.
only 4 rooms, but one is more of a like transition area, and then the other is what I would consider to be a full-fledged area. So
That's exciting.
That is exciting. I agree.
yeah, that's pretty neato. At the conclusion of this new wave of content, I would expect to see the first larger live RP event coming out of this wave of content.
What does that mean? What do you mean larger live RP event?
I
Oh,
guess you'll have to
like a
be
party?
there to find out,
Mm.
right, Grim?
Ouch.
Yeah, like a healer tea party, but with more death and blood and destruction.
Does everything have to be blood, death, and destruction in the Forsaken Lands?
It's literally called the Forsaken Lands.
But at some point, is it going to transition into the Redeemed Lands?
Abandon
No.
hope, all ye
Yeah.
who enter.
I'm pretty
What
sure
about
that's what it says.
embrace hope? Ye who
That is
enter.
not the tagline, sir.
Yeah, that
Free.
sounds
free
like
food.
a mud that I definitely would not play for.
Can we? Wouldn't it be nice to transition to a game where everybody's just really nice to each other and PK is forbidden?
I think that would be a
Um,
different game.
Hmm.
I have a
But with
question for
RP,
Gifnab,
anything's possible.
if there's time.
What's your
Of course, there's
question?
time.
Gifnab, what would you say to the people who are still waiting for artifact quests?
Good
Good question.
Suck it.
Whoa! You heard
Sucks
it
to
here.
be you, folks. You heard it.
Wow.
Be patient. Look,
Let's let Rygo answer this because he is
Yeah,
the
I'd
ranking
like to
immortal
say-
on the show.
I'd like to say something about this. So, with the artifact quests, we have been receiving. I don't know, and this is kind of funny how it relates to OOC interaction. And I'm not saying that people are doing this, but we started getting artifact quest after artifact quest after artifact quest, and which is fine. However, the problem is at the time there's really only one person who's doing them, and so it overloads Gifnab, and also he's building on the side and doing other things on the side, and we have a lot of stuff going on. So as far as the artifact quests, if it's just you're just gonna have to be patient, unfortunately, because it is a tailored experience to
Sure.
whoever gets them, and we'd love to put them out more and faster, but it's just a matter of time versus resources, etc.
I was kind of segueing into a follow-up question of mine. How do you and Gifnab, being the immortals here, totally your personal opinion, not necessarily looking for any sort of general staff opinion, but to me as a player, I look at artifacts as, even though it's only 100 RP, it's kind of a big fucking deal. So again, your own personal opinions, how would you think another layer of requirement for an artifact quest would be? I think, they're so highly sought after that someone who just hit 50 and grinded 100 RP in the last 2 days is applying for it. Maybe there should be a character hour or real life commitment threshold for that. What do you think on that?
Ooh, I like that.
No, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because we literally have had this conversation, and I don't know that we're 100% on the details yet. We might be, but we haven't implemented it yet. That is going to be changing.
Staff. I just don't get it.
Yeah. So that is going to be changing for sure.
Good.
I mean, as the person who built the artifact quest, I would say I'm 100% on the details, and they will definitely cost more RP.
500 hours and 200 RP, folks. You heard it here first.
Oh, 200 is still lowballing it, but sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot more significant because of the personal touch that goes into them. Because we try to look at, and if you're applying, make sure you have your history done. Make sure you have. I mean, don't say make sure you have journals, but you might want to have journals and things of that nature, because those are kind of things that we're probably going to look at and try to incorporate into your character experience. But is what it is. So, but yeah, we're already on the ball with that, because
I think that's a great idea.
It's been overwhelming. I'm sure. I don't want to speak for Gifnab, but he's got a lot on his plate. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and I think, it was kind of almost inevitable to happen, right? Because I think Artifact, and I think the people who have them and the people who are going after them can probably agree, it's probably the coolest thing your character can get, right? Not only is it a colored item, not only is it unique and odor only, but from what I've seen in game, they do some really cool shit that you're not going to find anywhere else. So yeah, I could see the demand for those skyrocketing like it has.
Yeah, try to make the rewards make sense for PK balance while also being unique, and it can be challenging. Just trying to figure out the item. We've had a lot of debate on some items too. So,
is there still item rebalancing going on?
Yes,
no.
There's still. Well, they're supposed to be.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just an asshole.
He's being a troll. Yes, there's still items that need to be rebalanced. In fact, actually, we're focusing on Cabal items, I think.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
They are next on the list.
Is there one Cabal or maybe two Cabals in particular that the staff feels definitely needs some love?
Harold needs a major tone down.
Let's agree to disagree on that.
What?
They definitely need some better equipment.
They need better equipment so they stop hogging rares with their non-PKing asses.
Thank you. Yes.
I was very surprised when I pulled together all the points for the current Cabal items, and Harold has far and away the most OP items right now. But at the same time,
what are you talking about?
Harold has a 40-point item.
What?
That's utterly useless, I bet.
No, that's actually not.
Okay.
Because most of their items are utterly
I've worn
useless.
all of it. I've worn all of it, and none of it helped me.
None of it felt like 40 points worth of gear.
No, it was there's infinitely better things I could have been wearing.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, No,
And maybe it was 40 on your point system on paper, but out there in the street, it was worth nothing. Might as well have been wearing rags.
So here's my thing with the Herald equipment specifically is that there's just not enough to make it to where you don't need to get rares if you really want to. I mean, I guess you could walk around in common items because you have the artifacts, but you're not going to. Why would you when you can have rares and have better equipment?
No, I understand, and I'm not disagreeing long term that heralds need like a full solid suit of gear.
Yes, I think 2 full solid suits of gear, in my opinion. One for
One
mage
for
characters,
melees and one for
melee.
casters. Yes.
You guys
That
want
way-
your cake and eat it too, huh?
Well, it doesn't make any sense for them to not have that so that they don't go out there and take all these other rares from people that are going to be actively PKing. And then you get people sitting in Herald just hoarding gear for no fucking reason because their gear is garbage. You know, you might as well have gone outside, taken all your regular clothes off, rolled in the gutter, covered like yourself with filth or other like mud and shit like that. You know,
Did you not renew
Because
your
that
New
protect
Year's
you better.
resolution to moderate your language a little better?
We don't moderate here on the Forsaken podcast.
No, but
Yeah.
he was self-moderating, and
okay.
I
Well,
confess to being a little disappointed.
just FYI, motherfucker, it's 2021. So
That resolution died last year.
Fair enough. Like most of our hopes and
Was-
dreams in those unprecedented times.
these unprecedented times have been unprecedented. So it takes all of us to readjust the precedents.
All right.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
So,
I don't
So,
know.
hey,
What
what is there anything else you can share that's coming down the pipeline aside from the quarterly going ons?
yeah, I guess. I mean, I can give you my lightning round hot takes of things that are coming that I'm not going to give you any extra information on.
I like that. Yes, let's do the lightning round with Gifnab.
All right. So number 1 would be new dragons.
What?
Number 2.
Spicy.
Wait, like fightable ones?
Hey, he said no more information. You can't bite
Number-
at the chomp like that.
New dragons.
Uh,
That's all you're getting.
I'd like toilet flushing sounds to be edited in after every one of these hot takes.
Perfect. Number 2 would be more new dragons, but in a different capacity.
You said more nude dragons. Aren't all dragons nude?
New.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I'll save the D for later.
I'm sure you will.
Chicka, wow, wow.
Whoa.
What else? We've got a new area coming in addition to the quarterly content. The 1.5 areas, I guess, that I mentioned earlier. We have. I don't know. I'm running out of things here. We have some potential new quests coming.
What about classes?
No, I don't like classes.
So I want to piggyback off something you just said about new quests. What is the working theory, if you will, on what you guys are going to do about all these quests that have such crazy like practice and train creep?
That is a great question that I can say that we are looking at and addressing.
There's no general consensus though yet on what might be happening.
We do not yet. We do not yet have a general consensus on the exact details of how that's going to be changed.
Gotcha.
But it will be changed.
Yes, it will.
So, because right now it's you've identified it's a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some character names that have been getting tossed around in the Discord and some of their stats getting shared either through PK logs or whatever. And yeah, some of the HP is just getting out of control.
Yeah.
And we're aware of it, and we are working on figuring out the best approach. Because the thing you have to remember, too, is if we said tomorrow, no HP, no trains, no practices from quests, period, end of discussion, then all of the characters that currently exist that have benefited from that and have a huge advantage over anything that comes later on. And so it's a little more complicated than just saying we're going to get rid of all this stuff, because we have to also figure out
Sure.
how we're going to nuke everybody that has already min-maxed
Benefited.
their way to a seat of power.
True.
Why don't you just take away their HP?
That would be rather punishing, wouldn't it?
Not if it's balancing. You could throw in RP. There could be some kind of a global pandemic that takes away everybody's HP.
Yeah, I suppose. But here's the problem, right? Is because not everyone has those quests. So I mean, I guess we could look at each
Look at the-
character, but that takes
look
a
at the quest
significant amount
log.
of time.
Well,
it is
look at the quest.
it is an exhaustive, like, very individual process. Plus, not everything is like a flat amount. Some of it's ranges. So then, do we take the minimum range or do we take the maximum range? It's a complicated issue, and
Not to mention, sorry to interrupt, but not to mention some are their trains. So that doesn't mean that they spend them on hit points. They could have spent them on moves or mana, for whatever odd reason. And how would we know? I mean, it's too much.
We're gonna have to do a P wipe. I mean, that's all there is.
Oh, you said the word.
I don't think it's that big of an issue to where we need to do a P wipe. I think we just adjust the quest rewards. Another issue is that how do you make the quest rewards where people want to actually do the quest, other than other than the people that just want to get, Master Quester, that just want that prestige, if you will.
It's very prestigious.
Yeah, I mean, it yells your name across the whole game every couple minutes.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, one example of something that we could do would be to stagger those removals. So, like, basically, if we decide that we're going to cut it by 5%, we'd basically say we're going to get rid of 25% of the rewards that are offensive right now, in this order, and then another 25%, another 25%.
So here's my thing about that, though. I mean, looking at it from another perspective, is that I just feel like we should rip the Band-Aid off, because there's people now that are playing that don't know those advantages, but they still fight. So,
Sure.
to me, just rip the Band-Aid off, get rid of them, let it be done, and those characters will phase out that have all those.
That was kind of my thought too, is that the characters that might be the most the ones benefiting the most from some of those quests, like, character turnover is so high. Like, you see some of these characters that are more active in PK, and I don't know what the odds are that they're still going to be around in 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point, and like I said, we're
Sure.
aware. We're definitely. I mean, we're not just aware of it. We're very, very,
very aware.
It is a priority that we're looking at right now, and
Yeah.
So y'all know about it, is what you're saying.
Yes, we do.
And y'all have a plan of action in order to fix it all.
More or less.
Even the playing field, as it were.
We all. I would say we plan to. I don't know that I would say we have a plan to. But we plan.
You are
to.
planning to. Gotcha. That makes sense.
For sure.
I can understand that. Totally understand
We're
that.
plan. So,
and you said there's no new classes? Why did I think I'd heard rumors about new classes or something?
I think you might have heard rumors about reworks.
What reworks?
Oh, well, why didn't you ask?
I asked you like 10 minutes ago. What the hell are you talking about?
So currently we have 3 work prioritized. I guess you would count it as. I'm gonna lump 3 of them in together. We have a rework on the horizon for clerics, shamans, and healers. To basically get rid of clerics and have multi-alignment shamans and healers.
Wait, we're gonna get rid of clerics? What the hell are you talking about? That is the backbone of this game.
Is it though?
It is to me.
American game, you say, I'm glad they're here.
So, follow-up question on that. When necromancers got reworked, and I can't think of any other example, but so yeah, when necromancers got reworked, they were kind of put into like a beta phase where people could ask to kind of try those out before they were quote unquote officially released. Do you see that happening in the future?
I think most likely yes. So we can only do so much testing on our own as immortals.
Yep.
Whenever players obviously get a hold of things,
Break them.
there's yeah, it's like break them, but there's just some unexpected things that we didn't expect. I mean, it's like with any game that comes out, you know, there's players that are going to test the limits of everything, and so I think it would just behoove us to actually, you know, have players also test along with the immortals. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. It makes sense, anyways, to me to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, like, my philosophy on testing is just like, because and I say that half jokingly, like, when we released the Q1 content back in October, there was a ton of testing that went in, and myself and Rygo and several hours on Buildport, going numerous times, like configure.
You're cutting out real bad, sir. So basically, there was a lot of testing done on the Q1 content, and whenever we released it, there was still issues. In fact, we find issues pop up randomly from time to time. So, yeah, for some reason you're cutting off. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm fixing.
Am I cutting up?
Yeah, I think it's just Gifnab. No, it's just Gifnab.
It's just him.
Yeah.
Let's kick him out.
So here's another controversial topic, sensitive. I don't know how much we can discuss, but I can speak on behalf of, I don't know, half a dozen players so far that have asked about this or talked about it or encountered it. The
Is it
church
your pronunciation of the word controversial?
What's wrong with controversial? You're just hung up on Grimm needing to wash his mouth out, I think. So the church entrance quest has produced some interesting feedback that I've seen. Is that something you guys are looking at all?
Yeah. Church as a whole has produced some interesting feedback, as you put it. And it's definitely a work in progress. That's kind of Lot's project.
I was going to ask, is that kind of lost baby entirely?
Yeah, that's Lot's project, and he was not around for a while for personal reasons.
Yep.
So hopefully that will get sorted out quickly. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, that's kind of the state of that. And now silence.
Sounds good.
Oh, did somebody say silence? I can break that quickly.
Bam.
I think I'm having some connectivity issues also because I'm hearing stuff cutting out. I don't know if it's just Gifnab or if his presence in this room is actually causing the whole thing to fuck up. I was iffy about having him.
Affected.
I mean, I was iffy about him joining in the first place, and I think
we just need to take a poll, on a vote on who needs to leave the podcast host and why is it Gifnab.
There you go. We'll take that poll.
So let us know your feedback on this podcast. Let us know.
Yeah. So, what? I'm curious, Zrothum, what you thought about the quarterly? Actually, not quarterly. What am I talking about? Seasonal race, the Frost Giant. I don't know that you played one or not, but I mean, what's your thoughts on that, just in general? Is that something that you would like to see more of in the future? Not specifically Frost Giant, but maybe some other interesting races. I don't know. Is that obviously something you'd want?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Kind of harkening back to what I said earlier, I think anything that FL can do new is just going to pay dividends, right? People are going to see that, and they want it. They want to be involved. They want to do something new. They people are looking for a reason to try FL or come back to FL. And so the more options, the wider variety of options that can be given is just going to be great. And I did play a Frost Giant. I couldn't be bothered to take too much attention away from my mains. I didn't play him too much, but I think it's great. I think Trick, I think, had kind of started that off when he was trying to get his Frost Giant. I think there may have been one before him, but Trick's the one that kind of spurred this thing to happen and be done on a trial basis. And I think it went off great. I think people were interested in it. I think I just saw one the other day actually that rolled up new, so people are still interested in it, and it's just another layer of things to do, another flavor for people who are looking to try something interesting. So I hope to see more of it in the future. I hope you guys keep doing it.
All right, so I do have a question based off of that. So essentially, we are calling these seasonal races, and with that being said, they're only going to be available for a certain time, and then they're going to be going away. And then there's going to be possibly specific requirements that are a little more strict as far as keeping them around. An example would be if, like a normal character, you have so much time before you can actually be idle with that character, not log into that character, and then it disappears, right? Those
Yeah.
requirements might be less. Like it might be a month versus 90 days, for instance. And I guess my question is, do you feel like it would be better to just add the race as a selectable race or a quest race that you apply for, versus do you think it would draw more interest having the seasonal races, adding them here and there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it would pique interest and just be another bullet point on an announcement. One thing we didn't talk about yet or in this podcast was about kind of our recent push on social media to advertise and attract more players. And I think that's something that is very cool to be able to add to those sort of monthly updates that we're putting out there. Is, what is the new seasonal race that's available to come and try. I like the idea of having stricter requirements, even like with Q things, you have a minimum RP threshold to keep that character. I think that could be something that comes into play. I think having shorter, like you said, timers on how long you can be idle with the character. I think the only thing I wouldn't want to see is I wouldn't want to see them just be like deleted. Like, okay, you can play a Frost Giant, but as of February 1st, when it starts getting warm, you're done, you're gone. I wouldn't want to see that happen, and I'd want those requirements to be crystal clear. That way, everyone knows what they're getting into when they decide to make one of those characters.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy to have them just disappear like that. I mean, why not
Well, I think that's the
make them a
perception.
queue thing?
When you say, "Hey, this is a seasonal race," okay, well, what happens after the season? Am I gone? Do I keep it? So I think those are just some of the questions that need to be addressed.
Yeah, that is a good point. The intention was never to get rid of people's characters whenever this quote unquote season ends. It's more that race is available
Limited
for a
availability. Yep.
certain amount of time, and then there's stricter requirements on keeping it once it's phased out. And also, maybe you only have one or two characters that are allowed to be that, and then if one goes away, then another can, pick up that race. There's also talk about that as well. So I think it's kind of awesome. In fact, there's some races that I would personally like to see as a seasonal race, even.
Spill the
So,
beans. Like what?
Spill them, please.
I mean, personally,
Roll that
I'd
beautiful
like to
bean
see like a
footage.
wood elf, like a neutral elf.
A
That's
wood elf or
more-
something like that.
Yeah, like a wood or wild elf, something that's
Mhm.
neutral and maybe even stats more suited for like ranger and something like that, a little more melee.
I could see a night elf coming this fall to an FL near you.
A night elf, yeah. Was that World of Warcraft?
It's World
They
of
have those?
Warcraft lore. Yeah, that's WoW lore.
Well, who cares?
I
yeah. So
I kind of like WoW, so
Okay.
please. I'm just saying I don't like you.
What's the difference? I mean, all of FL lore is based off of another game, right?
I mean, it's I mean all what
I mean,
what
Dungeons and Dragons had
right. Well,
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying what fantasy game isn't a hodgepodge of like Tolkien and D&D and whatever else there is. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Like it's I guess it's just open to imagination and plagiarism, if you will.
haven't we had a night elf before? I'm pretty sure I've seen somebody be restrung into a night elf once.
I wouldn't be surprised.
In-elf.
When did WoW come out? Are we older than WoW? Or are we
2000
younger?
2006. WoW
So we're
came out-
older than WoW.
Yes. So if anything, WoW copied FL.
I think we have a case here. Do we have a
I
resident
really,
lawyer?
I really don't. I really don't think we have a case. I wouldn't even.
Yeah,
I don't know why we'd want
that
to.
one.
Oh yeah, we'd be fucking
We
taking
do
off
actually
the
have a
internet.
resident lawyer, but I don't think he practices law in that specific. Actually, I think we have two of them, and I don't think either of them practice that kind of law.
Well, I know one of them.
I bet you know a
Interesting.
few lawyers with your background.
I do.
What else did he just bring up that he was like, we should maybe save it for the next podcast? Because maybe we should. We should probably. This is a good wrapping up point, I think. What is it? We've been on the air for an hour. The
Pretty
airwave.
close.
Yeah, pretty close to an hour. Sorry you got cut off there, Gifnab.
It was
okay.
It was bound to happen. Oh, there he is.
I thought I got voted off the island.
No, well, I was just saying it was bound to happen one way or the other, if you know what I mean. But yeah, hey guys, thanks for tuning into the Forsaken podcast. We hope to do this again next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys down for next
I
week?
will not be available next week, but you guys are more than welcome.
Nope, not happening without you. I'm not sitting here with Gifnab as the only immortal. So, and we don't even know if his presence on the show is going to be a permanent thing. That's yet to be determined. So,
Andy's barely an immortal anyway. So
okay. Well, perhaps in 2 weeks we'll convene again and we'll talk about the topic, the potential website for the game, and potentially the other social media outreach.
Actually, wait. Before we quit here, I got to get Zrothum kudos where it's due. He definitely stepped up and went out on the social media, and obviously we got at least one player from that, if not more. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Happy to do it, man. It's going to be something that continues. Obviously, we've got a monthly update thread started on Reddit. I am continuously looking for new groups across various social media platforms that fit kind of the niche that we're looking for, whether it's creative writing groups, fantasy writing groups, LARPers, RPGers, anything that I think, FL holds an interest on. I'm trying to put our name out there. Obviously we keep going back and forth and discussing some other things like live streaming and different avenues, right, that we can just get our name out there. Very, very pleased, that it has attracted at least one that seems to be playing actively. But there have been multiple ones in the last week or two that have kind of popped their head in. They're kind of on the fence. So, all that we can do is just ask the players to, keep inviting friends, keep trying to, see, if you can bring back old players. I think I got Festorvian hooked again. If he's out there listening, welcome back, buddy. So we'll see what he brings to the table.
Hey,
here.
and guys,
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, guys, if you see somebody that's new in the game, don't be an asshole. That's all I'm asking. I mean, I guess.
It's the assholes that kept me sticking around here.
Yeah, but that
assholes like Rygo.
Rygo kept you sticking around here, huh?
I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
No, I'll bring that up on another podcast. What are some interesting memories from back then? 'Cause I've got a few that stuck out that are definitely reasons why I stayed around in the game. A couple characters in particular that I can remember from 20 years ago.
Yeah, sounds good. So I guess sing your little ditty here.
Well,
Grim,
did we want
and
to
can be done.
mention the donation drive? I don't know if anybody knew this or not, but one of our longtime players here who had to step away from the game, Elle the puppy, has been dealing with some real life issues with testicular cancer. Actually had to lose one of his testicles. If anyone wants to reach out and show some support with his recovery, you just come to me and we'll make sure that goes to the right place.
Holy shit! What?
Yeah, it's been talked about. I just want to mention that on air though.
I didn't know that.
Well, there you go.
Give your money to
All right,
Zrothum.
let's do your ditty and be done with this.
I wrote it with magic. I'll try to pipe in Zrothum. Sorry, Gifnab. I don't have it. Thank you all for listening to our podcast. We hope you like to hear us talk about stuff. Grim Zrothum and Rygo and all of our friends. We're sorry, but this podcast has to end. Thank you. And have a good
And
night.
Gifnab as well.
Thanks, guys.
Gifnab on the end. Yeah.